What does that mean? Instead of waiting to analyze your employee or to sit with your employee annually, real-time feedback gives you information on what happened that day, that minute, that week. And we can create personalized coaching programs. As an IO psychologist, to my clients, I constantly coach, if you could eliminate a performance management system that is an annual basis and create a system of coaching, you will have a more talented workforce, and you will have a more engaged workforce, and you will have a happier workforce. Because when we created a performance management system that focuses solely on their annual performance, just once a year I'm talking to you about what you've done, the reality is, as a manager, all I can remember is what you did last week. I can't really remember what you did all year long. So if we can create a personalized coaching plan by leveraging real-time data, we can actually impact performance management for positive, and we can impact our employees' performance instantly. We can create objective evaluations. How many times do we, in performance management, look at there are so many biases, like me bias, there are external factor biases, like I don't know if anybody watches The Office, but when Michael Scott wanted to give performance evaluations, he was all in an uproar because of his relationship with Jan, that he didn't really care. He was like, oh, Angela, you did a great job. Didn't even give her an actual evaluation. And what we can do is talk about performance trends. We talked a little bit about that, right? So this really helps in sales. Are we actually performing week over week? We don't have to wait for the quarter to tell us if we need to pivot our sales strategy. We can actually do it that day. Again, I talked about succession planning. In performance management, this is often organizations spend so much time. So for example, a biopharmaceutical company that I know really well spends so much executive leadership time sitting in a room once a year talking about the next best leader of the organization. When I look at the cost of that meeting, it is unreal. These are executives paid in the hundreds of thousands a year. They are sitting in 2 and 3 day workshops, rooms that are filled with 12 to 15 people talking about talent while the real full-time job is on hold. It is so costly, but it is done because they recognize if we don't do this, we could potentially lose the future of our business. But if we leveraged artificial intelligence to tell us who the future of our organization is based on performance, based on real-time feedback, we can let those leaders continue to do their everyday job. And Boeing doors might not be falling off of the hinges. Like really, I'm so serious about Boeing's problem it is not an engineering problem, it is a culture problem. And they need to reevaluate what is important to them. And I suspect they should be leveraging artificial intelligence to revamp their culture. So like I said, we can use real-time insights. We can make fair and objective evaluations. No more is my personal life going to impact how I evaluate you. No more is our relationship going to impact how I evaluate you and whether or not I set you up for promotion. Because artificial intelligence will tell us who the key folks are that are performing at a level for the future of our organization. We'll have protective talent management, so we'll be able to analyze the talent in real time. Our organization can stay attuned to which employees are actually going to be successful. What attitudes are probably fostering in our organization? How can we shift and refocus our organization when we hear people that are unhappy? How can we pivot right away? And then how can we maintain retention? So we talked a little bit about predictive analytics, but I want to talk about it from the perspective of organizational change. I mentioned earlier that my business focuses solely, or I don't want to say solely, but a large part of my business is on change management. I had a lot of business come through during the pandemic because of organizational change management. Does anybody know the statistic of successful change? What is the percentage of a successful change? It's 30%. 30% of all organizational change is successful. So what's the adverse of that? 70% is unsuccessful. 70% of change is unsuccessful, and I'll tell you why. There are many factors. I won't get into all of my reasons, but I do believe we fail to share with our own employees the why behind our change. We don't share it enough. But with organizational change from an AI perspective, we can create change models to determine how our employees are going to respond. We can create success factors and identify those success factors, and we can actually analyze it in the midst of the change process, helping us pivot our change strategy for better adoption, mid-strategy instead of end strategy. We can create scenarios inside artificial intelligence and utilizing all of the data that we've collected about our people and about the change and their response to the change. How is it going to actually end up for us? How successful will this change be? And I spend a lot of time going through change readiness assessments. The amount of time I spend creating a change readiness survey, deploying a change readiness survey, analyzing a change readiness survey would reduce my time by literally 1/4. Like I would have 75% of my time freed up to actually execute the change instead of data analysis. Because we spend so much time going through that data. And then not only do I have to spend time going through the data, now I have to create an actual strategy based on this data to ensure adoption. But if artificial intelligence did all of those steps for me and even created a change strategy, I can now be the critical thinker to say, okay, but where do I tailor this and to whom do I tailor it? Because change, although is very basic, you prepare the change, you deploy the change, you reinforce the change. But the people we're changing have to be trained and changed bespokely. We need to create programs that are tailored to each individual. And artificial intelligence can help us do that. Moreover, because the artificial intelligence will start to get to know us as an organization, it will help align our change to our